So here we go. Again, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to our refresher webinar of December 13th, 2023. And calling this Give Yourself a Gift. And we're going to do the kind of what I did last year, but a little different. Some different meditations and tips. So I'm going to try to do 2 meditations today. But if you have any special questions or requests or whatever, please, there's my contact info. Please feel free to reach out to me. And I'll be reminding you about the EFR program as well. So first, let me say happy Hanukkah. I know we're in the middle of Hanukkah. If you're celebrating that, we have Christmas coming up. So if you celebrate that, Merry Christmas to you. Kwanzaa is right after Christmas, I believe. So that may be something you celebrate. And then, of course, Happy New Year. So I may not see you if I don't till we get to January. Happy New Year. And I don't think I've forgotten anything, but if I have, I apologize. If there's any other holidays, I know there's another important one that's celebrated by Seinfeld followers, and that's Festivus. So anyway, happy holidays. I really do wish you warm and peaceful and mindful holidays. And that's kind of what today's session is all about. And just kind of reminding you of how important pausing is during these times. We can get really, really swept away in all of the activity, right? So let's just remind ourselves to take a little bit of time and to pause to recharge and reset and refresh. That really can make a difference. And I'm realizing that more and more for myself, but more and more people are talking about it. I was listening to this podcast called On Health by Dr. Aviva Ram. Very good podcast. It's mainly focused on women's health, but it applies to all of us. And she was interviewing a Dr. Pooja Laksham. I don't know if I'm saying that right, who is a psychiatrist who specializes in women's mental health. And she has just written a book called Real Self-Care. And it's interesting because the whole book is about taking these moments and taking time and not just, bubble baths and crystals or massages, kind of these things that we think of as self-care to, in the moment, kind of help us to take that break. Yes, those things are good. Those are tools that we can use. But her book is more about, really making structural changes in our lives. And she goes into 4 principles rather. The first one is boundaries. Then compassion and self-compassion is the second one. And values. So values, doing the things that matter to you. So that's very important this time of year. And the fourth one is power, meaning kind of figuring out, should you be receiving or should you be giving back? But also that how powerful self-care can be in self-preservation. In other words, it's kind of a fundamental, important value. So the boundaries part is real important. And she talks about even simple, small, brief little pauses that are boundaries in how we respond to all the demands that are going on. So you might think of some simple ways. I have some suggestions here, but you might think of some simple ways to take boundaries. And I'll remind you about RAIN. RAIN is an exercise that we've talked about in some of the classes. And RAIN stands for the first, recognize what's happening. So that means turning inward, recognizing what's happening, sort of the internal weather landscape, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your thoughts and emotions. And then the A is to allow life to be just as it is. Because sometimes when we do that internal recognizing, we realize that there are some things that we're not happy about or we don't like, we want to push away from or avoid. The A is about simply allowing it to be there. And then I is to investigate that inner experience with kindness. So noticing what's going on again inside, but realizing that we don't have to do anything about this right now, but just reflecting on what would be helpful for us and doing that with kindness. So sometimes we notice some of the shoulds that come up, especially around the holidays. And so realizing that it's important to be kind to ourselves, take care of ourselves. And then the N is that natural awareness that can come out of all this, or the nurturing of ourselves, or not identifying with the troubles and the stress that we may be investigating here. Realizing that those are just isolated kinds of things. They're not who we are. Okay. So rain is a very good exercise during these times. So I just remind you of that. And then just we realize, and I think you all know this, otherwise you wouldn't be here, but meditation and mindfulness can really help us with the stress. We've done whole classes on stress, but just taking that break, doing nothing on purpose, helping ourselves to refocus on what matters, as I said, tuning into your own values, what matters most. And then the second point, realizing that meditation can really relax and calm ourselves, even when there are difficult emotions or stress going on. And then we're going to do a meditation. This is our first meditation of the session, and it's the 7 R's. So I've added an 8th. And so put this image up while we start the meditation. So the first meditation is the 7 R's for Mindful Holidays. It's actually by Chiara Rossi Erteler, and this is actually off of the Insight Timer app, which is a very good app. You might check that out if you're not familiar with it. It's free. It has tons and tons of meditations on there. So let's begin the first meditation, and we simply begin by reaching. The first R is to reach for the present moment. Notice where you are now. Bring your awareness into your body, feeling into your posture, feeling your feet on the floor, noticing your seat, the chair beneath you, the pressure, contact your body makes with the seat, being aware of the chest, the belly. Let the chest and the belly, the front part of the body, be soft. Noticing the shoulders and the jaw and the face, and let those also soften a little bit. Let them relax. And we'll feel the gentle flow and sensations of your breath. So let the breath and the body anchor you in the present moment. So in other words, as we've done often, whenever we get distracted or we get pulled into the past or the future, just come back to the next breath or back to that feeling of the body being anchored right here and now. The second R is to recognize. Recognize and be aware of any body sensations you notice. So scanning the body, simply observing sensations that call your attention. There are usually sensations that are present that are most obvious. Just noticing those, being aware, getting out of the head and into the body. But also notice any subtle little sensations. So searching a little bit and noticing, scanning perhaps. And you might notice maybe an area of tension or discomfort. See if you can be aware without judging. And if you notice a judgment or an opinion, like, I don't like this, or I'm uncomfortable, or there's a little bit of pain somewhere, just see if you can notice that without judging it, at least for the moment, and acknowledge and let it go. And in the same way, we're going to notice thoughts that come up about the holidays, observing any internal dialogue or chatter that arises. And again, see if you can notice without judging. Just be open to what thoughts are present about the holidays. Be curious about them. Try to be like a scientist, just impartially observing thoughts as they arise, especially around the holidays as they come and go. And then also emotions, emotional reactions that are tied to those, whether they're pleasant or not. Pleasant ones could be joy and happiness and excitement. Often there's a mixture, and so we also may notice some anxiety or stress or even sadness or grief, being aware of those as well. And try to just be aware without judging and just let it be here as it is. Might take a deep breath before we move on. Feel the breath. Let the breath bring us into the present again. And the third R is to relax. Allow the body to relax as you breathe nice and slow. Slow down the breath. Longer in-breath. Slow exhale. Focus on the out-breath and let yourself relax the shoulders, the belly, the face, and jaw. Anywhere else you might notice little tension. And bring to mind what helps you to relax. Things that you do already, music perhaps, or reading, or there may be holiday things that you do that are relaxing. Maybe there's some exercise you do, or walking, or a warm fire in the fireplace, or being with a loved one or a pet. Just remember what helps you to relax. And again, whenever your attention wanders, that's okay. That's going to happen. Just gently and softly return your attention to the anchor of your breath or the body. The fourth R is to review your options. So asking yourself, what can I control? What can I change? Do I have a choice? And then also, what can't I change? And those things that you can't change, can I accept it or let it be? So noticing what you can control and what you can't control. Now, this is not the time to try to fix anything or problem solve, just noticing. The fifth R is to respond to those questions from your deepest self. So what really matters to you this holiday season? What's most important? And how can you let that inform your holiday choices? The sixth R is return. So check in with yourself and bring yourself back to mindful awareness with openness and curiosity. Return to your body sensations, to your breath, Take your time to feel into the present moment. And do this whenever you feel overwhelmed, especially later on when you're in the midst of all that busyness. Feeling a little bit overwhelmed and scattered, just return to your body and your breath. The seventh R is to restart your present activities with this new awareness, reflecting now on what insights you may have gained during this time of meditation and sitting. And see if you can bring an open attitude to the next activities of your day and the next few days as you go about all this holiday preparations and activities. The eighth R, which I've added on to, is to reflect on gratitude. What's something that you're grateful for over these holidays? What's something or someone or something that you enjoy doing or that brings you some peace and joy and happiness over the holidays? Just reflect on that for a moment. And so as we begin to finish the meditation, let's take one last nice full deep breath. Reconnecting with the breath, reconnecting with the body, and remember these 8 R's whenever you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes if they've been closed and stretch a little bit and return to your surroundings. I don't know how this sound comes across, but I'm going to use it to finish the meditation. All right, so thank yourself for giving yourself this gift of self-care and time and a little bit of refresher for today. We've got more, but let me know what that was like. I'm curious to know. As I proceed, feel free to maybe put into the chat, or if you want to unmute, you can do that as well. But this is really giving ourselves a gift of doing nothing, of rest, taking time for ourselves to restore and recharge. So make that a habit as we go through these busy times. So let me know if you have any feedback. Again, chat is fine, or you want to unmute, that's fine too. So I mentioned boundaries as part of that. And so Dawn says, just what I needed today. Great. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Boundaries are important, especially during these kinds of busy times. And so just you see some examples here: stepping away from work, taking those breaks, detaching from digital triggers, being careful about social media, noticing when that comparing mind pops up with social media and other things. In other words, why can't my life be like somebody else's life? Well, chances are that their life is not exactly the way it looks either, as they put it out there on social media. Learning to say no. It's hard to do that. Sometimes we overcommit. So learning to say no without guilt. Carving out uninterrupted time for yourself and your family, time to rest, time to do some things that are replenishing. So just trying to take control of your time and your energy, and asking for what you need and want. So just some thoughts about boundaries. The chat here. A reminder that when we identify stress or problems, we just become aware and let them go for now. Yes, exactly. Not just automatically move into the problem-solving mode. Yeah. Such an important point to underscore. That's really the key to all of this, is realizing that we don't have to automatically react and respond. We can take that even 30-second break to just say, what's best for me to do right now? What do I most need in the moment? What's the best next step for me? Thanks, Jim, for that. All right, so I just wanted to throw this in there. I love this little cartoon, Christmas group therapy. You look at the different characters there. And this is really just a reminder to try to keep things light, try to take some time to laugh, to have some fun. So whatever it is that does that for you, as you look at this cartoon, we all have our own things. I love that one with the snowman. I think I'm bipolar. Poor Rudolph, all the other reindeers laugh and call me names. Anyway, just remember a reminder to try to take care of our fun quotient. All right, so I like this quote, and this quote is going to lead us into the next meditation. Meditation is the ultimate mold device. You can use it anywhere, anytime, unobtrusively. So just keep that in mind as you go through the holidays and all that's going on at work and at home. You can take that meditation break, even if it's a quick one. It doesn't have to be a full 10, 15 minutes. I mean, that's great if you can do that. I always say, a reminder of formal sitting for 10, 12 minutes. 12 minutes they've kind of identified as sort of the optimal sweet spot. If you can do that into your daily schedule, that's when it works best. But I know that's hard for a lot of us. And so even just 1-2 minutes of a pause or a break can really make the difference. The next meditation is 10 minutes to diffuse holiday stress. This is based on Dr. Mark Burton. It's one from, I think it's from mindful.org. So let's do this next meditation. Kind of intros it by saying that sometimes we aim for perfection. Look at that picture perfect image of all those shoulds, the expectations that we have. Sometimes we want things to be perfect, and usually that means that things fall short when that happens. So we can easily fall into that mental trap called the comparing mind, which I mentioned before. Social media does really cultivate that. So be careful with that. And see if you can let go of those hard and fast expectations and be flexible and open yourself up to more opportunities for connection and joy. So let's start this next meditation. So start by closing your eyes. If you prefer, you can keep them slightly open with a downward gaze in front of you. See if you can allow the mind and the body to settle by taking a few deep breaths. So lengthening the inhale, feel that air coming in. Really long, slow exhale, emptying the lungs. Doing that a couple more cycles on your own. And remembering mindfulness is an opportunity to build an ability to observe without our normal reactive spirals, kind of what Jim was saying before. For a few moments, we take a break from escalating our holiday stress. Now, after the deep breathing, allow your breath to be natural and relaxed. And just let your breath breathe itself. Just sort of establish again the breath as your anchor, or if you prefer, a part of the body can be your anchor, but just really feeling the sensations of the breath right now. And as you do this, check in. Notice what's going on for you right now. Whether you feel stressed or relaxed or anything else, for a moment, let it all be. And if it really, sometimes it can capture our attention and hijack our attention if that happens, just come back to the breath. And again, like we said before, try to do that without judgment or expectation. Just notice it and come back to the next breath. And now picture the next couple of weeks and take a moment to notice what comes to mind when you picture the holidays. How does your body feel? Do you notice tightness or restlessness or exhaustion? Just notice and let it be. We'll come back to the breath. What thoughts arise? Where do your thoughts go? Take a moment to just check in with the flow of thoughts coming and going. Perhaps there's a conflicting swirl of pictures of what might be. Stress over what seems possible or ruminating over planning and presents or parties or travel, whatever comes up. But just remember your thoughts are just simply mental events. And see if you can step back from these triggering thoughts and simply observe them. You can try labeling them as they arise. You can label them just generally thinking, or if you notice it's a particular type of thought, whether it's a worry thought or a planning or a fretting or a comparing, just label it. And do the same thing with emotions. So noticing emotions arise in the same way, see if you can just observe and step back and not get caught up in them. Maybe there is a mix of excitement and joy and dread and tiredness or whatever. Often there's a mix of emotions. Just notice, see if you can label what emotions are here. And the next step is see if you can reframe the feelings and thoughts of stress. Realize they're just energizing you to meet the challenges and demands ahead. Getting your body and mind ready to be their best, to be energized. And if you practice this, you can even increase your focus and your ability to focus on things and really single task. But also you can focus on the excitement and joy of the holidays. Next, we practice as best we can letting go. So that image of the perfect meal or the snub from a friend or a storm derailing your plans or whatever it is, they're all really just thoughts as you replay them in your mind. See if you can let go and return to the breath. Notice craving and wanting things to be a certain way. Just notice though, don't wrestle with it. Don't engage with it quite as much. Do your best to let it go or let it be. And as always, returning to the breath breathing in and breathing out, following the sensations of your breathing. And relax with the breath. Right now, there's nothing to do, no special way to be, nowhere to go. In this moment, sitting, this is all there is. So enjoy that. Savor it. Some other time might be for acting or thinking or doing. Right now, just take care of anything emergent, but otherwise let go of fixing and moving and focus on to the next breath again. Next, we shift our attention to someone you care about. Take a few moments to focus on your friends and family. Picture them and wish them well wherever they are. Wishing them peace, happiness, and health, maybe safe travels. And then finally focus on yourself. This is a time of stress, perhaps. Wish for yourself whatever you did for your family, ease or peace or happiness, safety or health. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be at ease. May I be able to step back from the stress of the season. Take a moment to be grateful for whatever comes to mind. And when you're ready, take a deep breath. Let yourself relax a bit more. And slowly open the eyes as we finish. So again, thank you, and I wish you warm and peaceful holidays. And thanks for being with me. And again, if you have any feedback about that practice, I know it was somewhat similar. There's some similarities, of course, but just another way to kind of be aware of what's going on. So yeah, great observation, Jim. I noticed for me that the breath is a great barometer of my stress and concern. As I dwell on those, my breath becomes more shallow and uneven. Yep. And by stepping back and deliberately doing some deep breathing seems to calm me and put things into perspective. Yep, that's exactly right. And got an amen sort of agreed. So that pretty much does it. I did want to just mention that sometimes grief can be very difficult during the holidays. Sometimes we remember those we've lost, and we sort of gets amplified because we really miss them, especially at these times. So I've got a bunch of things to do that can help. The priorities and should statements. Be specific about your wants and needs. It's okay to keep traditions or make new ones. It's even okay to skip the holidays if that's best for you. And it's okay to ask for help. I'm going to remind you about the EFR. It's one way that you can get some help. Have some open discussions with families and friends, what to do, ways to handle that. Discuss ideas for rituals to remember that loved one, to honor your feelings. Might want to have an escape plan for when attending gatherings if things become too much. And I can, of course, build in that time. I mean, if you don't take the time for rest and some reflection, especially if you're feeling some grief and loss, it's important to do those things, whatever it is that makes you feel better. So build that into your daily routine. So the EFR is available if you wanted to talk to somebody at any time. That is there. We have this new web address. The old websites do still go right to this. See this one here, the carolonwellbeing.com/YNHHS. That's the new way to begin accessing services. You can also call the 877 number if you wanted to take advantage of the counseling. There's also work-life resources and legal and financial services. This Achieve Solutions sites is actually now being redirected to that Carolon Wellbeing site. So they're just combining it all into one area. Still have a lot of information and content on there, but keep the program in mind if it can be helpful for any reason for you or your family. And family members, immediate family, dependents, and household members can also use the program. It's totally confidential. The sessions are completely free, no copay. And if you have any questions, if you need help at all, just reach out to me through email or give me a phone call. I'm happy to help out. Remember, we do the phone meditations. We're still doing these. We're doing a holiday theme this week and next. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2. There's that same call-in number that we've been using. And then there is 3 recorded meditations on the number in the blue box here. So I'll send these slides out so you have them. If you want to refer to any of the links or the phone numbers. And I'll just leave you with this image and wishing you happy, healthy, and wonderful holidays. And thanks so much for joining me. Again, I really do appreciate you being here. And as I said, I am recording this, so I'll post this. I'll send out the link too if you want to watch it. Try one of the meditations again. You'll get that along with the slides. So thanks so much for being here. With that, I'll stop the recording.